So what's our long-term policy here in income taxes in the state of Montana? We need to reduce our top income tax rates, and that was a policy that we need to do. Because you look around the region, you've got Wyoming and South Dakota who have no income taxes. Idaho tax rate is right about where we are, 6.9%. But then you get down into Utah, Colorado, those other states, they're at 5% or less. So we are one of the top income tax rates in the Rocky Mountain region. And so in order to attract businesses that come to your state, you need to be competitive. Because that's primarily what businesses look at when they want to relocate is income taxes. And not only is that happening in the Rocky Mountain region, but you got Republican governors all across this nation who are doing the same thing that we have done. They're controlling their budgets and they're reducing their income tax rates. So if we don't continue to go down that road, we're going to lose businesses here. And we all know that the left and the environmentalists have attacked our natural resource industry for decades. And so we've lost a lot of that industry. We're trying to build that back, but we also need to attract other industries to get better paying jobs in the state of Montana, because we're near the bottom in income per capita across the United States. So there's a couple bills that I carried. Senate Bill 159, which is a simple tax reduction from 6.9% down to 6.75. It's effective in 2022. The other bill that I carried was Senate Bill 399, which was a little more complex. I'm a CPA, so I do prepare income taxes. That's not my primary business, but so I understand. And any of those who prepare your own income taxes in Montana understand how complicated it is to prepare your tax return. So what Senate Bill 399 does, it simplifies preparing your income taxes. So you no longer have to file married separately. If you file jointly on your federal return, you file in Montana the same way. And so once you file your federal return, the work is practically done. You'll have a few more adjustments. And with that bill, and we eliminated some income tax credits and a few other deductions and made things more fair, that bill will allow us to bring the tax rate down to 6.5% effective in 2024. That bill we could have gotten done sooner. However, these ARPA dollars that we're getting in have a little rule attached to them that you can't reduce taxes with ARPA funds. We did not even do that in the state of Montana. We segregated those ARPA funds, and so we're not using those to supplement our general fund budget. But so that's going on. A number of Republican states are going after the federal administration about this rule that you cannot use these funds. So that will work through the system, and we may be able to accelerate Senate Bill 399 a little sooner, and there may be some. I think we'll have a lot of money available. I think we're going to see taxes continue the collections go up. We're going to have a few good years here, and we'll be able to reduce those income tax rates even further come the 2023 session, if not sooner.
So can you explain when 399 becomes effective?
So 399, so the income tax credits that we eliminated, those will become effective on January 22. But the guts of 399 won't become effective until January 2024.
Thank you, Lieutenant Governor, for having us here today. I just want to say I've heard from Director Alme and the governor and his staff that we have repeated words that give us so much hope. And the first one is hope, and the second one is discipline. The 67th legislative session was phenomenal in the aspect that we had a heightened energy in our legislature, both the House and the Senate, because for the first time in 16 years, we have someone on the second floor that we know is going to sign our good bills. So thank you. Thank you, Montana. We wanted to make sure that we had good legislation passed, and in the House Taxation Committee, we had a lot of good members, 18 members on the committee, 12 of whom were Republicans, 6 of whom were the other side. Anyway, we had a lot of energy and a lot of good bills presented because we knew that our pent-up frustration that turned into energy was going to get some discipline installed back into our tax code and our rates that keep going sky high because we don't have the discipline in our spending. First of all, the governor was looking for something he called Keep Your Home Tax Relief Act. House Bill 191 revised the residential property tax for the elderly. And we revised the definition of household income and increased the maximum credit that may be claimed. This was carried by, sponsored by Representative Mike Hopkins, and he worked diligently with Senator Hoeven and the governor's office to make this happen. We needed to address our skilled worker shortage in our great state of Montana. House Bill 252 established an employer tax credit for trades, education, and training expenses, providing that credit be taken against individual income tax and corporate income tax liabilities. Representative Lou Jones, again, working with the governor's office and the director of the department, the budget office, we were able to make this one happen as well. And then, on behalf of Governor Gianforte's office, Representative Kassmeyer carried House Bill 303, revising the business equipment tax laws. It was called the Business Investment Grows, or Big Jobs Act. Now, it started with where we were previously with $100,000 business limit for the exemption on Class 8 business equipment tax. Then it went to $200,000. And then everybody got together a little down the road and said, let's move it to $300,000 exemption. So we met and exceeded on this bill, and it became law. So we are looking at our spending. We're cutting spending where we can. We're making sure we have our stabilization and fire fund met. And we are doing everything we can to keep our taxes on the down low. Thank you very much.
So before I pass the mic to, Kurt, your mic's asleep. Before I pass it on to him, I want to just briefly talk on property tax, because we know that we heard across the state, we need property tax relief, and the governor's aware of that. The problem with the state legislature addressing property taxes is that it severely affects the counties. As you all know, counties rely heavily on property taxes for their revenues. So anything we do at the state level as far as reducing property taxes, somehow there's got to be a backfill at the county level, unless we're going to just, we do not want to just shift the revenue problem onto them. So we are continuing to work on property tax reform, simplifying it. We did have the elderly tax credit. You had a great bill that if you appeal your property taxes and win, they get the attorney's fees now. So we, you know, the governor talks about 3-yard plays versus Hail Mary passes. And you will continue to see 3-yard plays on property tax reform. We're fully aware we need to continue to work on that. As a property tax lawyer, I can attest we have the absolutely most complicated property tax system in the United States. So that is future legislation you'll see coming in 2023. And with that, now I am going to pass it back to Director Alney.
Is it on? Well, I do. Everybody was saying that. Is it on now?
Yeah.
Okay. So a couple of highlights. 33 tax bills were passed and signed into law, either reducing or streamlining tax processes. Isn't that extraordinary? 33. Total tax savings to Montana taxpayers over $60 million a year once fully phased in. The two biggest, of course, are income tax, as Senator Hertz talked about, and then broad-based property tax relief in House Bill 663, which we won't cover too much. Lieutenant Governor just talked about it, but essentially what we're going to be doing is providing more money to schools from the state, and so local school districts can reduce mills and property tax owners all over Montana in some direction. The two I wanted to highlight were the Entrepreneur Magnet, and then also what we're doing in corp tax. The Entrepreneur Magnet is a bill that actually near and dear to the governor's heart. And if you think about his situation, it applies to the type of entrepreneur entrepreneur that he was. Entrepreneurs don't want to come to Montana because of our high capital gains tax rate. Because when they come here, they build their business, then they turn and sell their stock, they get hit hard on the capital gains tax on the sale of stock. They could go to Nevada, Texas, Washington, Wyoming, any place without an income tax, and pay zero. And so it's a tough battle for us to recruit entrepreneurs. So what the Entrepreneur Magnet did is it says that if you come to Montana and you bring your jobs, when you sell that employee-owned stock, we're going to give you a capital gain exemption. And what we're looking for is them to bring the jobs, and that's the key part of this legislation. They have to demonstrate that they're here to stay, so they have to come for 5 years and be located here with their corporate headquarters here, and they have to have 25 full-time employees, and over 30% of their employees all have to be located in the state in order to qualify. Again, what we're looking for, and the governor's looking for, is #1 goal is getting good paying jobs into Montana. And we're hoping the Entrepreneur Magnet, just what the name says, bring some of these entrepreneurs and innovative people to the state. Corporate license tax. This was long overdue. Montana has an archaic corp tax. The quick history, without getting too far into the weeds, is corporations that do business in a lot of states have to split their income up, and each state gets to tax a part of it. And how we split that income up for years used to be the old 3-factor test: property, payroll, and sales. 1/3, 1/3, 1/3. So depending on where your people are and where you own your property and where you make your sales, we weight it based on those 3 factors, and that's what Montana would get its share of. Well, most every state has moved away from that. As we moved into the internet economy, we want to move, most states have moved towards sales and away from property and away from personnel. And frankly, if you think about it, we don't want to overtax people if they bring their people here. We don't want to overtax people if they invest in Montana. What we want to do is give the Amazons and those that are out of state and sell them into the state. So we proposed a change that would brought us in line with what most of the states do. We moved a big step in that direction with what we call double weighting sales. So now, when we apportion income into Montana for a corporation, we're going to double weight the amount they sell into the state compared to the amount of property they own and the number of employees they own. So we've reduced the disincentive to invest in Montana. It'll be interesting to see how this plays out. But the other thing about this is this actually raised revenue, because we have so many businesses like Amazon with no presence here that sell into the state that weren't paying their share. And now those companies are going to be paying their share, and we reduce taxes on Montana businesses.
Okay, anything else to add along the lines with the Entrepreneur Magnet Act? Another initiative the governor's office has taken is, so going in, we had our Montana Comeback Plan, and the governor is committed to getting our economy going again, reducing taxes, providing a consistent, predictable business climate for our businesses. One of my personal story is, I come from a diverse family. I have a bobcat, I have a grizzly, and I have an ore digger son. When my ore digger graduated as an electrical engineer, he and his 4 Montana roommates, all, excellent boys, we should have kept in Montana, every one of them had to leave to get a job because they did not have job opportunities here. Well, I'm glad to say that my ore digger is back in Bozeman, where the technology business is booming, in large part due to the success of Greg and Susan's company. And it's not just our technology people we want to give jobs to. We want our loggers back to work, our miners back to work. We have great manufacturing opportunities here we're going to expand. So the governor just sent out his Come Back to Montana versus the Montana Comeback. We are sending announcements to all of the graduates of Montana high schools and universities who don't have a Montana address, asking them to come home and bring their paycheck with them. And things like the Entrepreneur Magnet Act, lower income tax rates, we're hoping to get them back, and we need to get broadband into those small communities where we hope they come back and revitalize. So with that, thank you, tax panel, and if you don't mind exiting, let's bring up our business. Oh, yes, excuse me. Kurt wants to say.
It would be remiss of me if I don't thank Chairwoman Beard, Chairman Colvin, who I see in the back, Vice Chair Hertz, Vice Chair Welch, everyone on the tax committees. What a pleasure it was to work with them. Again, getting 33 bills through in the good shape that they went through, took tremendous leadership from them. And I appreciate you joining me, giving them a round of applause for their job.